Hey, kitty cat. I was an owl cat. That's great. That's great. That's a real. Let's keep that in because this
What's
is live.
what's new, pussycat? Whoa!
Indeed. Yeah, this is another taped edition of Press Play. You know how it is when we start stuff. That's Leroy.
Yep.
I'm Michael. We got an interesting topic tonight. That Leroy came up with. I was kind of like, I don't know how far we can get on this, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about the subject. Um,
Yep.
Leroy, I don't know if you want to kick it off.
So the top two games that have come out in the last month are, and I want to make sure I get this correct because um, this month provided us with two games that came out. One being Hogwarts Legacy and the other being Atomic Heart.
Now,
Hogwarts
when you say
Legacy.
top, what do you mean top?
I'm looking. I'm trying to get the Steam data. I know from Polygon's reporting, Hogwarts Legacy has sold 10 million copies. I believe that's correct.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And Atomic Heart has Hogwarts Legacy was the number one game on Steam. Atomic Heart has bumped that game. I'm trying to pull up the Steam data now, but it's the reason why I thought it was interesting because Hogwarts Legacy came out. A lot of people were excited, but then it brought up the question of that we've had on this channel and on our
Hmm.
previous channel. Um, how do you separate the art from the artist? And what really got me was this one was a little different, and because you were like, we've already talked about this, and I said, yeah, this is a little different only because Hogwarts Legacy is made by
Avalanche.
Avalanche, and
And this is like behind the scenes stuff. But at first, I thought it was the same studio that made the Mad Max, but it's a different Avalanche. So, but go
okay,
ahead.
so Mad Max is actually a very underrated game, from what I understand. I had it. I paid like $10 for it, and I sold it. Never even
It's
put
like
it.
you never even played it. Wow.
Never even played it. From what I understand, it's a very underrated game. But here's the thing that got me was that this game, Hogwarts Legacy, was
Hmm.
released. Avalanche went out of their way because I remember when we watched the was it E3 or was it Game Awards when the
Oh,
trailer
who
came
knows
out.
at this point? Yeah, I
But
don't know.
basically, they went out of their way to say J.K. Rowling had nothing to do with this game. They
Hmm.
like it was very. They were very upfront about like, hey, play our game, hate J.K. And I
Hmm.
was like, that's interesting. But then the game came out, and this is years later. We've had various controversies surrounding J.K. Rowling. We've had Dave Chappelle support J.K. Rowling. We've had J.K. Rowling being accused of using her infinite wealth of harassing and targeting LGBTQ communities. And what really got me was this game came out, it sold like gangbusters. It wasn't attached to J.K. Rowling. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
this is separate. And then the game had started its own controversy, something you alluded me to, the depiction of Jewish people in the game and the
Oh,
accusation of
sure.
anti
Yeah.
Semitism.
Hmm.
And I was like, huh? And that caught me off guard because I was like, if you're going to make a game and you're going to separate yourself from a controversy, why start an entirely new controversy?
Sure.
and
Sure.
that's what got me. So that's what started the conversation of now you're not separating the game. Now we're not talking art from the artist. Now we're talking how do people feel about this part of the game? And this is
Hmm.
where you come in because you knew about it. I didn't. Mhm.
Well, I only knew about it like tangentially because again, so neither one of us have played the game, right? You
No,
haven't played it. I haven't
no.
played it, so I can't speak from that perspective. I can just kind of speak from watching it on Twitch and seeing people play it and stuff.
Mhm.
And a big thing about it is And people who have played it, they'll be in the comments to let us know whether what we get right or what we get wrong. But there is a contingent or a part of the game, like some of the characters are goblins and trolls,
Yes.
and it's always been a long-standing issue that a lot of times in some science fiction literature, goblins and trolls can be depicted as being having negative characteristics that are associated with negative stereotypes of Jewish people.
Anti-Semitism. That's what we're talking about. It's basically that we're
Sure. But I
people
was
are
also getting to the point of
yeah.
like, in terms of like they're stingy with money or whatever. They're very covetous of money, and having like weird facial features and stuff like that.
Yes, that's the literally the I guess almost the literal definition of what anti-Semitism is: accusing a group of people, and it seems that the game has taken a bit from the books and has taken it a little further and has stirred up a hornet's nest.
Hmm.
And what I didn't know, and I sent it to you, a channel that we both like, Girlfriend Reviews. I really like what they do. I love Shelby. Um, streamed the game on their Twitch account. They
Hmm.
streamed the game, and they were trying to make money for the Trevor Project. If you don't know what the Trevor Project is, it is a organization that tries to help LGBTQ youth and how they navigate the world. That's the best way I can explain it to you. So Shelby, being Jewish, felt that okay, our job. Hold on, let me back up. Shelby, being Jewish, felt like you're attacking me, and I'm Jewish, and you're saying that I am being anti-Semitic by and not being an ally by streaming this game. One of the things that they felt was our job, our channel is to review games.
Hmm.
It's literally called Girlfriend Reviews. Um, so they streamed the game. They were going to review the game, and they were hit with things that they had never experienced before. The internet and certain individuals came for them and shut some of their channels down. Um, and it was they literally put a video out. I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes, detailing what happened to them. I had no idea. When the video came out, they showed links to or they showed articles where she had cried on the stream, and they pretty much bullied her off the stream. And I was like, that's something I had never seen before. And I thought it was interesting that a company that had spent so much time distancing itself from J.K. Rowling created an entirely new controversy without even her being involved.
Sure. Um, I think it's interesting that, to almost not even play devil's advocate, but I think they were just focused so much on the transphobia that JK had,
Hmm.
they may not even considered other stuff that people found problematic in the Harry Potter franchise anyway. So
Yes.
they were just like, "Oh, we can work with trolls and goblins and
Hmm.
other stuff like that because that's how this particular 1890 or whenever this is set. I guess it's 100 years before Harry
Yeah.
Potter. I think something like that.
Hmm.
How we can dig into that franchise. Let's work with that and see what kind of what kind of nuggets we can mine out of that."
And then what I thought was interesting was then it caused people to go back and reevaluate the Harry Potter novels, which in our house, I don't know if
Wait,
you
wait.
can
What caused them to go back? You're talking about the game or
the
before
game.
that?
In other words,
Because people have been reevaluating it way before the game
okay,
came out.
okay. So I saw that in conjunction with the game.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not a Potterhead. Here's a little bit of behind the scenes for me. I don't know if you can see them, but there is a Dumbledore, Hermione, and a Harry up there. I
Hmm.
don't know if I can.
Yep,
Can you see it
got it.
there? Okay, you
Yeah.
can see it there next to the Celtics flag, uh, Shuri Black Panther, and Mabu Haley Atwell as Captain Britain. Is that her name?
I don't know. I never
I, I,
had. I don't
I
know.
don't remember what her name was, but
Yeah.
uh, anyway, so the reason why I bring this up is I'm not a Potterhead. I don't profess to be. My wife is. I indulge her by going to Harry Potter movies, and I'm be honest with you, don't know what the fuck happened after I watched them. Like
Okay.
I've watched all of them. I've never read the books, but I have gone out of my way to make sure whatever Harry Potter thing she likes, I buy. I bought those. I have bought all the books. I have bought all of the books in hardcover to read to our children. I have bought all the movies, digital and physical. Um, I have bought Harry Potter tchotchkes, clothing, sweats. The Harry Potter franchise has gotten a lot of my money.
Hmm.
When it comes to Marvel, that's my franchise. Harry Potter is hers. Um, my wife was a middle school teacher. She's not anymore. She taught lessons from Harry Potter. She loved Harry Potter.
Hmm.
Um, I have not broached the subject with her because I know this is going to be a painful subject for her. But I'm very ignorant, so I didn't know about all of this in the books. The game exposed me to it.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh. So I say all this to say, you being a fan, you have read the books, you've
Hmm.
watched the movies, you have watched the new movies.
Yeah.
How do you feel now about the franchise and the game?
So I don't have many comments on the game because I haven't played it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I've only, and like I said, I've watched people play it on Twitch, but that's maybe at 5 minute intervals. I've never watched somebody and watched somebody do like a marathon session of it. So I don't know for myself. I can just do
Mhm,
anecdotally of like, okay, yeah, this seems a little weird. The
mhm,
thing that I really gather is, aside from the controversy it's bringing, like as a game, it seems to just be a very generic open world game that happens to have Harry Potter attached to it. Like if it wasn't a Harry Potter franchise, I don't know if it would be getting all this play, even if all this stuff wasn't happening, because it seems to be a kind of repetitive game where you're doing the same thing over and over again, and there isn't a lot of variety in the stuff that you do over the course of the 20-25 hours or whatever.
It's just a
Um,
game that's set in the Harry Potter world, so that is what is pushing the game
yeah,
to move
like
these
people are saying
numbers.
when they go into Hogwarts, it's a faithful recreation of Hogwarts, and they get to go around the castle. It's very cool, but
Hmm.
outside of that, there isn't much to do. A lot of people are hoping it would have been more like, you remember the game Bully?
Yep.
People were kind of hoping it would have had some of those features in there, but with like a magical bully, if you would have combined those together. Just having you going to school and doing all these activities, you don't really do. It's not as intricate as bully, as some people would like. But in
Hmm.
terms of the books and the movies, I enjoy them.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't seen them in forever. I used to watch them all the time when they would come on ABC Family or whatever. What is it? Freeform now, I
Yeah.
guess. I used to watch them all the time when they would come on Christmas and whatnot.
They come
But
on now on I think it's TNT now. Like
oh,
TNT or
interesting.
they do marathons because my wife and my sister are very like they want to go to whatever that town is that recreates itself like Harry Potter every
Okay.
year. They want to go
Yeah.
to that. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's, book a
Yeah.
trip. I'm there.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't actually watched them in a while, and I definitely haven't watched them since the whole J.K. Rowling like really got heated in, what is that,
Hmm.
2016 upwards or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't watched the originals. I mean, I've seen Fantastic Beasts. Uh, I don't know where I stand. I think I want to support the developers because they tried to put out a game that wasn't with Harry Potter or that
Yeah.
wasn't with J.K. Rowling. Um, I think there might be a message as the game starts. It talks about transphobia. I
Hmm.
don't know if that's sure or not, but I think they address that in the game. Um, I know there are one thing that people did like are giving props to the game is there's more minority and diversity inclusion in the game than there
Hmm.
really ever was in the movies,
Yeah.
which people are really excited about. I think there is a gay teacher or a gay character that has a prominent role in the game,
Hmm.
so people are happy about that. So I mean, they try to do some things. It seems like for every step forward, they do two steps backwards, maybe.
I
Um,
feel like if we were a better channel, whenever you said there was a gay teacher, I feel like that's when we should have edited in Sulu being like Oh my! But I feel like we like other channels like do these awesome edits and stuff, and this wonderful pre-produce. And I feel like I think we should just say what we would edit right then and there. So
That's a new concept. We'll see how long that works. But
I'm gonna
anyway,
be
yeah.
go ahead.
Okay.
I see it on gamer ranks
Uh huh.
and girlfriend reviews and all these people when they like do these videos, they make these great productions and they edit stuff in, and you'll see like clips of like Arrested Development, Seinfeld, you know, and I just like that's cool. We should do that one day. And I'm like, well, maybe I should just say what would be there.
Well,
Okay, good idea,
how many of those channels have like dedicated editors that can do that?
sir. We're not there yet.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you asking all this stuff. I like, okay, if you want to edit it, that's cool.
That's why I said I'm just gonna say it for right now.
Okay. Um,
Continue your thought.
yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's kind of just a stream of consciousness. So yeah, they did some things well. They did some things poorly. Um,
Let me ask you
Me
this.
personally, I don't want to buy the game right now.
That okay?
And
Would you ever buy it?
I mean, if it got down to be cheap enough, yes, because I still wanted to support the developers.
So here's the
Um,
thing. I know we
and
talk about
I want to play it for myself just to see
you give your own
how
opinion on
bad
it.
it is. You're right, right.
So here we talked about it was Avalanche who is the developer. The publisher is Warner Brothers, and
Hmm.
Warner Brothers was the one that said that distanced themselves and says is Hogwarts Legacy is not a new story from J.K. Rowling, and adding that Rowling is not directly involved in the creation of this game. However, however, it is built on the Harry Potter canon and concepts that Rowling has developed since the first book, yada, yada, yada.
Hmm.
U2's based studio, Avalanche Software, is the one who developed it, and then Warner Brothers is the publisher. So I wanted to make sure we clarified that. We were talking about Avalanche, and yes, they are the developers, but Warner Brothers is the parent company that said, look, she ain't got nothing to do with this.
Hmm.
Which and I know I'm probably someone out there is going to do a well actually, but I don't remember any studio coming out and saying this mofo ain't got shit to do with this game, and considering like a big name like that, like, and I remember when Konami and Kojima went their separate ways, and that was different because Konami hired Kojima. He worked for them. That's different. Like, this is the world that J.K. Rowling created. This woman was turned down multiple times to publish these books. And
Hmm.
one publisher published them. I can't remember who it was. She kept all the rejection letters. This woman created this, built this franchise from the ground up to become a billionaire. So I don't want to take anything away from her when it comes to that. She did that. But I don't remember in recent memory any company saying, we ain't got shit to do with her or
Hmm.
that person or that. And I think that's interesting. And the reason why I bring it up is because I want to transition from Harry Potter's legacy or Hogwarts legacy, Harry Potter
Yeah.
universe, to Atomic Heart, which then knocked it off the charts as the number one game on Steam. Another controversial game, one that I was looking forward to. I wasn't looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy. I was going to buy that for my wife and let her play it. I was looking forward to Atomic Heart. It looked like a direct successor to Bioshock. It
Hmm.
reminded me of Wolfenstein, this alternate reality. When it was released, the trailer was released in 2018. We were in a different world. And now we're in 2023.
Hmm.
And my head hurts because now, and I don't know if you even know the recent stuff that just came out, but basically, people are accusing the game Atomic Heart of being fueled and propagated by the Russian government.
Hmm.
And the reason why, I don't know if you haven't been paying attention to current events, Russia has invaded Ukraine.
When we record this, this is the year anniversary.
1 year anniversary. Thank you.
Hmm.
Um, I did. I I was at work earlier and then had to leave, so I forgot that. So
Yeah.
this is the 1 year anniversary of that. Our president, Joe Biden, just went to Ukraine recently. He did a speech in Poland talking about the war. Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Putin did another speech on the same day. Dueling speeches. Monkfish, the company who has made this game, is being accused of having ties to people close to the Russian government. And now, recently, the government of Ukraine has asked Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation says it will ask Valve, Microsoft, and Sony to halt the sale of Atomic Heart in Ukraine and will urge limiting its distribution in other countries because of the potential use of money raised from the game purchases to conduct a war against Ukraine. What the fuck is going on? And here's the new
That's
thing.
wild because
Here's the
it's
new
on
thing.
Xbox Game Pass. What's
Yep.
up?
Here's the new thing. Did you hear this today? Probably didn't because you were working and didn't realize. Atomic Heart apologizes for racist cartoon. No comment on Ukraine's statement.
Wow.
Did you know about that?
Mm-mm. Is it in the
Yeah.
game or something, or is it an
Yep.
advertisement, or oh wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know, here's the story from PC Gamer. Atomic Heart criticized for racist caricature in one of its Soviet era cartoons. Yeah. And I'm like, how are we as gamers supposed to navigate this new landscape? Because I don't know.
Well, I think the way you navigate is with your dollars, right? I mean, you decide what level you're comfortable with stuff. I mean, I will go on record. I go to Chick Fil A. I don't go as much, but I probably went to Chick Fil A at least once a week.
You camped
And I
out for Chick
know
Fil A.
I did camp out for Chick
Yeah,
Fil A.
you because you.
I
I
got
didn't know.
I got Chick Fil A for a year.
I did not know that was even a thing. You were a producer. You were the EP and the producer here at in Columbia, South Carolina. And when they brought open up a new Chick Fil A, you educated all of us because we had no idea this was a thing. Explain what this is, because I don't know if everybody who's going to watch this knows.
Well, it's different now, but before the pandemic, whenever Chick Fil A would open up a new store, they would hold a contest, and either like maybe the first 100 or the first so many people in
Mhm.
that community, if you were in line, you were entitled to essentially a Chick Fil A meal for a year. Is equated to like one Chick Fil A meal a week for a year.
Yeah.
Now, since the pandemic, I think they have changed it to instead of being people that live around the store, it's like first responders now. I think.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
had no idea this was a thing. Like when you told me, and then I was like, boom, it blew our minds because then we were like, that's why when they open Chick-fil-A's, the entire community comes out and it's a big deal
hmm.
because of this promotion. And I was like, that makes sense. So you educated us on that because we had no idea. But continue. I just wanted to get that out there
Oh
why
well,
this was a
yeah.
big deal.
So, and then I don't remember when they said this, but it was either the CFO or some higher up in Chick Fil A made some disparaging comments against the gay community. I
And
don't
then
remember exactly what the comments were,
not
but
only
they
that,
doubled down on them and stood by them.
not only that, they have been accused in of contributing money to anti-LGBTQ campaigns, organizations, politicians. They have been accused of being very extreme in their views on the homosexual community as a
Hmm.
company in what they have donated to. Now, I'm quite sure there are people who are of all race, ethnicities, sexual orientation who work there. We have seen many comedians talk about this, but you're right. It comes to a point of how you use your dollars. And I just feel like in this age of globalization and trying to figure out, do I want to, it is getting harder and harder to ethically purchase something and not feel guilty about it. Like, perfect example, how many stories have we done on these little things being built by children?
Hmm.
You know, how many times have we talked about, uh, oh, and if you're new to this channel, I'm Leroy. That's Michael. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Hit all for notifications. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I put some shit up there in the community page. I got a lot of questions. I put them up there, polls. I'm starting to do visual polls, um, where you put a little thumbnail up there. So, hey, yeah, do that. I bring that up so that people understand Michael is an executive producer in a news organization. I am a newscast director. We have done so many different stories about so many different ills of the world, and it's getting harder and harder for you to figure out how to spend your money and be ethical about it. And now it seems that that question has come to gaming.
Sure. Well, I think it's just a bigger spotlight, right? Because I there have been other stories that haven't generated as much buzz about stuff like this and controversies and whether or not you spend your dollars. I just
Well,
think now it's in a
well,
bigger
explain
spotlight.
what stories
I mean,
you have been very
there is
upfront
a
about Crunch.
gamer. There's a well, yeah. I wasn't even talking about Crunch. I was talking
Oh, okay.
about I think it was Chair Entertainment, and I can't remember the name of the game. It's a Metroidvania style game, but the developers. I got to look it up so I can get it right. Was it Chair Entertainment? Yeah, it was Chair. What was the game they did? Shadow Complex.
Oh yes, I was going to. That is in my queue for Steam.
It's a great game, um, but the issue was the was it the like maybe the leads. Oh, that's what it was. Shadow Complex was either had was tied to Orson Scott Card,
Yeah, I remember
and
now.
he
Yeah.
had strong views on homosexuality and stuff like that against it.
Yes.
So people were like talking about boycotting the game.
Yeah. Because people started boycotting Ender's Game, and then he had a deal with Marvel. He was doing some books. He
Hmm.
was writing some Iron Man books, and he lost that gig. So yeah, interesting you bring that up. I guess my question is
Let's
this
solve the
some?
problem for everybody right now tonight.
I wish if I could, man, I would have a better camera. Let's
There
just
we
start
go.
there. I would have a better
Yeah,
camera. Um, I got a better ring light though. Thank you, GameStop.
there we go.
Uh, I guess my we've had this problem in the past when it comes to gaming for certain things. Um, because I didn't know Detroit Human,
Hmm.
Nine Act
The
Studios.
game that's going to solve racism, but isn't about racism.
You brought up that when we watched at the Game Awards the new Star Wars game that was coming up, and then we saw
From
this
David
trailer,
Cage and group. Yeah.
and you were like, and we were all like, oh, and then it said Nine Act Studios, and you were like, fuck, and I was like, what? And you were like, oh, you don't know, and I was like, no, and then you educated me, and I was like, oh, and then the internet was like, oh, and I was like, man, so now what? Like, and I guess my question is to the gaming world, the gaming community out there,
Quantic Dream,
how
by the way. We should say Quantic Dream.
is it Quantic Dream?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not Nine Act Studios.
I don't know what studio you're talking
My bad. It's been a long day. Uh, so I guess what I'm saying is, how do we as gamers navigate this? Is and
I'll tell you what I do.
uh,
I feel like it's almost you got to put a little good in the world and get a little bad in the world.
okay, how do you do that?
And I feel like it's up to everybody's conscience. You got to figure out what you're comfortable with. Um, I I didn't finish the whole thing about so Chick-fil-A had views against homosexuality. I don't know if they've walked that back since because I feel like major news outlets were talking about it. They don't really talk about
Mhm.
it anymore. So who knows what happened with that? Um, I'm pretty sure the people at the top probably haven't changed their views. I don't go to Chick-fil-A as much. I still go. That's something on me.
Mhm.
But I compare it to like and this isn't a national chain, but like Maurice's Barbecue. I've never been to Maurice's Barbecue,
Ooh, preach.
which is interesting because the Maurice Bessinger, was that his name? I can't even
Yep,
remember his name.
yep.
Yeah, Maurice Bessinger, had like racist literature and propaganda in his stores for a long time in South Carolina. Now I don't know who owns it now. It's still with the Bessinger family, I'm pretty
It
sure.
is. The sun's on it.
The son, and I think
He is
they,
he has disavowed all of that.
yeah, and Maurice is
Well,
long since dead,
he's
right?
dead. Yes.
Yeah,
So here's the funny thing. Two stories. One, I applied for a job at Maurice's
interesting.
when I was unemployed and looking for work. Uh, I was laid off from another job, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this job, and the job didn't come. And I was like, shit. And I was applying to a bunch of jobs, and nothing was coming through. I was unemployed for 6 months. I remember it. And at month five, I put an application to Maurice.
Wow.
And I went down. It's down the street from my parents' house, and I went in, and that stuff was still there. And
Oh
I put
wow.
and I went to put in an application. And I was like, nope, I can't do it. It
Yeah,
was like, and I
yeah,
was desperate. I was like, fuck, I can't do this. Like I just couldn't do it.
yeah.
Two, the reason why Maurice blew up and the reason why it came known was the New York Times did a story on Maurice because the restaurant was poised to push their new mustard based barbecue sauce and they were putting it in all the stores and
Mm,
Walmart had it on the shelf. And
okay.
then they did this article like, hey, do you know about your barbecue sauce? And
Hmm.
people were like, no,
Hmm.
go on. And they
Hmm.
ripped that shit off the shelves.
Okay.
And locally, um, it was a cluster fuck.
Hmm.
And the restaurant never became prominent like they wanted it to. That family is about as divisive as Succession, maybe
Interesting.
more. Yeah. Go if you can go. Just type in Maurice Bessinger, New York Times. Have fun. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, they've done everything they can to distance themselves from their past. So,
Okay.
mm,
Yeah. So I mean, so it's weird, right? On the one hand, I've never frequented Maurice's, but every once in a while I go to Chick-fil-A. I
uh-huh.
don't know. And that's something I have to wrestle with. Now, who knows if they had like, you know, anti-gay propaganda in Chick-fil-A, like that was just like on the walls, like
Hmm.
the racist stuff is for Maurice. Maybe I would be more inclined to not go at all. So I don't know.
Hmm. So okay, I'm on Steam right now. So here's the number one games on Steam as of taping 225 to 2023. Number one, guess what it is? Top sellers.
These, well, I guess it's Atomic Heart.
Nope. We'll
I
get
don't
to
know.
it. Right now, number one is Sons of the Forest. Two,
Oh, that
Kerbal.
just came out, right?
Yep. Kerbal Space Program. Three, Destiny 2.
Hold
Uh,
on. So this isn't sold. This is how many people are playing the game.
this is top sellers.
And Destiny
I'm just,
Two is
I'm,
there,
yep. Because remember, they just dropped a DLC.
but that doesn't come out for the to the 28th.
Yeah, but you can pre-order. Um,
Interesting. Okay. All right.
hold on. Let me do this. Let's go to. I'm on home.
Can you
Go
do a
store.
screen share?
Give me a second,
Okay.
and I will
We can
do
all learn
that.
together.
Yep. Chrome tab. Welcome to Steam. Can you see that?
Not yet. Now I can. Oh,
Okay.
yep. There we go.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So let's scroll down. What should I click on? You tell me. New releases, upcoming specials, top
Let me tell
sellers.
you, buddy. I don't know how Steam works. I don't know.
All right, let's click on top sellers.
Okay.
So right now, at top sellers right now, What do we see? Relevance. Let's it's listed by relevance. Let's do um I want uh I want to see the listings.
Hmm.
Um so if you look right there, I have Sons of Forest pulled up, 86th percentile of 225,000 user reviews, positive.
Hmm.
50% of 4,500 user reviews, 83% positive,
So as you go
93%.
through these, I'm going to let you know I can't read anything you're saying, so you have to tell me what games you're clicking on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hogwarts Legacy. I'm on. So
Okay.
basically, I'm clicking on these little things on the side, and they are telling me what the user reviews and the percent of positive. Now, Atomic Heart is down here. It is 87% of 7,000.
Hmm.
It is overall user reviews, very positive, 7,156.
Hmm.
Um, I the thing that I think is interesting is both of these games have overshadowed anything else that has come out. I know that there are other games that are coming out. There are other games that are being discussed. We know that we have Jedi Fallen Order coming out. Jedi Survivor. I
Yeah,
forget what it.
I think
We
it's
have
Jedi Survivor. Yeah.
Jedi Survivor. We have Diablo 4. We have Street Fighter 6. We just had a state of play. Resident Evil 4, the remake. There's some DLC that's coming out. Mercenaries mode. Um, I just it's these two games though are like sucking up all the air.
Well, also those games are out, right? I mean, I think
Yes,
that's a big thing. Like, so all the games you mentioned, they are big, but they're not out yet. Like to me,
yes,
it would be a bigger story if they came out and then nobody paid attention to them. If that were to happen, that would be like, wow.
and I'm being honest with you. I wonder if they came out, would we be paying attention to them? Because would these games be pushed to the sidelines? Because Hogwarts Legacy is a brand new IP. Atomic Heart is a brand new IP.
Well, Hogwarts Legacy isn't a new IP; it's Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter, but as far as a game, this is, in other words, this is a brand new IP as a franchise. Like this isn't Hogwarts Legacy 2 like Assassin's Creed. This isn't Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. This is the first game, first big budget AAA game in the Harry Potter universe.
There were a bunch of Harry Potter games before this.
Were they AAA? I'm
I
asking. I
mean,
don't
they
know. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be.
that's I don't know. It's debatable, but I mean, they made essentially a Harry Potter game for
Yeah,
every
they
movie
did.
that came out,
Yeah,
and then
but were they
like
cash
those,
grabs or were they any good?
I mean, they
I
were
don't.
probably
I don't know.
garbage. They were probably garbage. But beside that, I mean, before, I mean, most movie games are garbage. They probably were too. And you know what? Let me not say garbage because they were I think geared towards kids, and kids probably liked them, so that's
Mhm.
fine.
Okay.
But whether or not they're AAA or not, that's debatable because I don't know the budgets of them. I would say though, the people that made like Lego Star Wars and Lego Marvel and Lego all the stuff,
Mhm.
they did make Lego Harry Potter games, and those are generally AAA big budget Lego games. So.
Okay. I just, I guess the reason why I brought this up is because we've talked about this for a while, and with games being $70, both of these games are $70. You go fork out. I thought I had my wallet over here, but I don't. I put it over there. $70.
Mhm.
So my question is for those gamers out there: when you buy a game, do these things come into play when you decide to buy a game? I don't
I mean,
know.
I'll say for me, yes. Like
For me, yes,
when
yes.
when we were talking about Harry Potter, the big thing I was saying for me was I felt comfortable with it, um, because I felt like it was going more towards the developers, and they have been so strong, and the publishers have been so strong about saying, granted, J.K. Rowling will get some money from this, but she didn't create this story, so I felt comfortable from that.
Mhm.
And the main thing that was keeping me from it was not the association with J.K., but was the price point.
Yes.
I was just talking with a coworker today. in the break room, and he was talking about, "Yo, you picking up Harry Potter?" I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Nah." For me, it's a price. It's the price thing that's really keeping me. When he was saying the same thing, we didn't even bring up the issues, the controversy so
Really?
much. It's just, yeah, we were just
Okay.
talking about the prices, why we were staying away from it. I have another coworker who did pick up the game. Um, they
Did you
paid
burn her at
$7
the
for it.
stake?
I did not burn them at the stake.
I'm just wondering
Um,
because that's what the internet is doing. Like
I was like,
and that's what I was. I guess that's why I kind of wanted to have this conversation, kind of like the Velma conversation I wanted to have. We're not having nuanced conversations about these things anymore. It's either you're on my side or you are the fucking enemy, and I'm going to burn you to the ground.
well, I mean, it's tough, right? And I hate to use the word woke culture because the right has trying to take it and,
Oh yeah, they
demonize woke
weaponized it.
culture.
Oh
But
yeah.
at the same time, I do understand partly with what that group says because the far right
Go
is
ahead,
just can be
Hannity.
just as extreme. Well, hey, the far right can be just as extreme as the most extreme woke culture people in terms of
Explain yourself.
if somebody says something out of line that's wrong, and you have to look at who the person is, right? Because some people say
Okay.
stuff and you don't always know, they may come from a place of ignorance. Now,
Okay.
and you have to examine that person and talk to them. Hey, are you coming from this as a place of ignorance, or are you just saying this to be malicious? If you're saying this
Yes.
to be
Okay.
malicious,
Okay.
okay, fine, that's
Okay.
cool. But sometimes people will
Burn
say
you at the
things out of,
stake.
yeah, sometimes people will say things out of ignorance, and then people destroy them. It's like they didn't know. And I feel like there's no middle anymore. You either have to be one way
Yes.
or the other.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I feel like both. I feel that for both sides, for the right and for the left. Let's come back to the center and have these discussions.
So I
So
that
that's my thing.
I take back the Hannity comment. I understand. I understand where you're coming from because at first I was like, "Sir,"
Yeah. See, let me explain.
I was
You
about
were
to
about to
say,
prove my point.
I would, hey man, you
You
was like,
wasn't gonna let me finish. You
"Sir,
said,
sir," when you said, "I understand the right," I was like, "The right what?
"Oh
The right
man."
side of the street?" I was like, "The fuck."
Yeah.
Uh, but that's I guess that's why I wanted to bring this up because we had this conversation with Velma. Go check out our review of Velma if you are so inclined. Because I feel like in Velma we were having two separate conversations where people were not addressing the pertinent thing that was going on. Is this for me
Hmm.
and is this good? And I felt like that's a nuanced conversation. And in this conversation, I think it's different. Is this game good? And does the controversy outweigh playing this game? Now, we talked about Harry Potter and Hogwarts Legacy. And I feel like that is a where do you come down on enjoying the Harry Potter universe? Because I've been to Universal Studios. I've written the Harry Potter.
And the Harry Potter stuff. Okay, that's cool.
Yep, I've written. I think one of the like I'm going to tell you right now, Universal Studios is improved since when I went. When I went as a child,
Hmm.
a preteen, Jaws was still up and running. When I
Hey,
went
that was
with
a fun
Kate,
ride.
it was. I love that Jaws ride.
Yeah.
Because I love the Jaws franchise. I love Jaws when he gets into that amusement park. Oh, oh, love. That's one of my favorite Jawses. Um, I actually root for the shark.
Of course you do.
So when we went back, we went last year. Wait,
Hmm.
2 years ago. Wait, when was Owen born? 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. We went 2 years ago. We went to Universal Studios because that was the year I went to MegaCon. Um, Harry Potter universe in the Universal Studios was better than the Marvel universe or whatever they had.
Interesting.
Um, Harry Potter was one of the best places. Like if you and I say this as we just came down on all Harry Potter. If you have a chance and you can afford it, Harry Potter should be the last thing you go to because so you can spend the most time. Go to Marvel first, get on the Hulk ride, walk around and the whatever the X-Men, Spider-Man, all that stuff, buy some shit. But then I didn't do Vin Diesel's whatever thing. The Transformer ride was really good, but Harry Potter World,
Hmm.
oh bravo, Universal bravo, beautiful. But I say all of that to say, I think that's a different conversation than Atomic Heart. Because what Atomic Heart is accused of and Monkfish is accused of is basically producing a game with an alternate history of Russia and basically making a propaganda game and funneling money back to the country for war purposes. That's essentially what people are accusing this game of being.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
And you said, and we haven't heard Atomic Heart respond to those accusations. The
and no,
company.
they
Okay.
responded to the racist cartoon. And
Hmm.
keep in mind, the reason why people have brought this up is because the company, and I'll put the PC, uh, we'll put the article, the PC Gamer article up so that you can see. Because basically, the article was published 8 days ago from Joshua Wolins. Munfish's retro future Soviet shooter has stirred up a whole controversy. And basically, it's asking, why is this game controversial? And the company Monkfish has not done a good job of like saying, in the internet's opinion, do you stand with Russia or do you stand with Ukraine? Because people are basically saying it's either or.
Hmm.
There's no middle ground. And Munfish has come out and been like, hey, we just want to make a great game. And I kind of see it from both sides, as you were saying. Here's a company that has developers and people who work for them who are Russian, who
Hmm.
have ties and probably have family members who still live in the country.
Right.
And as a company, they probably don't want to come out as like being, hey man, we support everything that Ukraine's doing, all this other stuff, because they probably fear backlash. Or they may support the war that Russia's doing. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Don't know.
We don't know. And then on the other side, I understand from everybody else who's saying, fuck this game.
Hmm.
Because if you go and read the PC article, the PC Gamers article about the ties that this game and the investors has to the Russian government, to Vladimir Putin, you're like, as a gamer, how can I support this and have a clear conscience? And that's why I brought it up because I think now we need to have this conversation of it's no longer just crunch. It's no longer gaming is global. And here's the thing. We've mentioned these two games and we haven't even talked about the games that are being developed or invested in from China.
Hmm.
And let's not even talk about their human rights record. So, are we picking and choosing winners and losers? And are we being selective in our outrage? Is my question to you.
That's a great rhetorical question. I don't have an answer for that.
I don't either.
Um,
And
yeah,
as and
I think this is more of a thought exercise than to have an actual 100% solution because I don't know what the answer is.
I don't
Again,
either.
I think the answer is you have to figure out what you're comfortable with. Um, and if you don't want to support anything that sucks, in your opinion, that's cool. If you
Because
can get away with a little gray, then okay, that's cool for you too.
watch this. Somebody's going to come in the comments and before and I know they're going to do it once we get big enough. But I'm hoping we get big enough. Somebody's going to come in the comments and be like, "Do you play Call of Duty?" And I'm gonna be like,
Get your props, Carrot Top.
"I can't find it."
Okay.
Ha! I
This
found one
this
of
is the
them.
point where he would show a Call of
I,
Duty. Okay, there
I
we go.
found one of them. It's not the one I
Okay.
was looking for. It's probably in the room. Activision. Remember when we were talking about Activision and all the shit they were getting into?
Yeah.
Are you buying Call of Duty anymore? And that's why I was like, where where does the lot for you watching this, the viewer? where is the line for you? And I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to come down like I did with Air, the Nike story. Because Lord, I had some strong opinions. I
Hmm.
stand by those opinions. Ain't changing
Hmm.
my views. But I'm not coming down hard on this. I don't know, and I want to hear from other people how they view buying games, because when it comes to comics, it's a gray area, but it's a little easier because you have the artist, the writer, the letterer, the inker, the publisher. It's not that hard. You
Hmm.
either like the story and the people who make it, or you don't, and you move on. Where this, like you said, it's a little gray, and I don't know. And I would like to
Yeah.
hear from other people who now have to pay $70 a game, how they'd view it, because I don't know. I bought it ain't over here. The
Okay.
Callisto Protocol. Um, I paid $70 because I wanted to support the developers. I wanted to support Glenn Schofield and his team, and I didn't want to buy Dead Space since I'd already played it. But I was like, I should have bought Dead Space.
That seems to be the sentiment. You should have bought Dead Space
Yeah, I
over
should have bought Dead Space, but I
Callisto
don't.
Protocol.
But here's the thing: I don't feel bad for buying Callisto Protocol. I
Hmm.
don't, because so far, as of this taping, they haven't come out with any of the other stuff that we just talked about. As of this
Give them
taping,
time. Who knows? Who knows?
by Saturday morning, they could have,
Yeah.
murdered ET by then. I don't know. I guess I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to start the conversation. And on this channel, I want us to wade through some of these hard topics and actually have a conversation and not be,
Civilized conversation.
we wanted to have a nuanced conversation and not be, you want, and I
Hmm.
didn't want to have that. And I thought this was, because you're the gaming person. Have you ever had this hard of a time deciding what to buy?
Um.
Not just this. I'm just saying in general. Have you ever had a hard time figuring out what to buy?
Yeah. This is definitely more. We're definitely more fraught waters now than we have been in years past, for sure. Um. I just think the world, and man, here's a shameless plug to a show that I love, and I think you enjoy too. The Good Place.
Oh, I
On
thought you were going
NBC.
Mythic Quest.
No, no, no. That's good too. But I was thinking of The Good Place because that's a show that deals with ethics a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and it does it in a very smart way that you don't normally see in a 30-minute comedy.
Yep.
Um, but I say that to say there's a good episode where they talk about like the world is becoming more and more complicated, so it's hard to know exactly what's good and what's bad
Yeah.
because so many things are tied in with each other.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
some there's no more. It's hard to find something that's just 100% good or 100% bad.
Yep. Patagonia.
Um, yeah, so I mean,
People.
you kind of just have to find your own lane.
Hmm. Yeah. I wanted to bring this up only because for that reason. I don't know anymore, man. Like I used to. We used to come on this channel and previous channel and be able to say and have these opinions and have this conversation and be like, okay, we're done. And now I feel like we brought something up and we just left it and threw it in the lap of people and was like, you fucking figure it out. Because I don't know. And as a dad, as a gamer, I don't like, I don't know. Like, when, because here's the thing, and I know people are having this conversation because I would have this conversation. You have a preteen or a teenager. Would you let them buy Harry Potter,
Hmm.
the game? Would you support them paying money for this game? And how do you have this conversation with a child who has grown up, who has watched the movies, read the books, gone to Universal? Reason why I brought all this shit up is because now you have to have this conversation. Do we spend $70 on this game for you to fly around on a goddamn broom and chase a snitch or switch, whatever? What is it called?
Golden Snitch.
Snitch. A white person wrote that shit because a snitch would not be something you chase uh, as a sport. Um, but yeah, like, how do you have that conversation with your child? I honestly don't know. So like, comment, and subscribe. We're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
wrap
pretty
this
much
up.
done at this point. Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
getting anywhere.
we speak for an
Um,
hour. So
yeah, I will say this. So this is taped, as we said before. I think if we get enough interest in comments, we could revisit this section in an actual live version
yeah,
and chat
yeah,
with people because it
hmm
definitely would probably be more beneficial to chat with people. But
yeah,
we'll just see if we get interest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, man, what got you through the week?
Been really loving Peacock and all the wrestling stuff. I think I might be. I don't know if I'm falling back in love with wrestling again. I really liked wrestling during the Attitude Era of Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H. I really did a lot, and I kind of just fell out. I don't. I think
That's
other interests came up.
that's when I
Um,
stopped watching it too. Yeah, that
yeah,
was a great era.
but I'm kind of getting back into it again, probably because of the people that I work with. My
Hmm.
desk mate, she's really into wrestling, so is her boyfriend, and they talk about it a lot. So it kind of brings me back into, and a bunch of people at the station really like it. So I've definitely been watching the pay-per-views for sure, and then having access to Peacock and just watching all these documentaries and stuff, and
Hmm.
really hearing the behind-the-scenes stuff is really what I'm really into now in terms of like, oh, these people didn't really like each other, but that led to great matches and great chemistry because they hate each
Yeah.
other so much they wanted to go at each other. So I'm really
Okay.
enjoying a lot of that stuff on Peacock.
Okay.
You?
The library.
Okay.
Anybody who knows me knows that I love reading. I love comics. The library has allowed me to cut back on some of the comics and the books that I have been buying, and has allowed me to read some stories that I might not have bought the book, but I wanted to read it. And I have been reading. There's a couple of Catwoman. So I'm gonna try to be quick. Tom King was writing Batman for a while. He was supposed to write 100 issues of Batman, and he got cut short. He was supposed to be the guy who married Batman and Catwoman, and he didn't. Catwoman left Batman at the altar. Uh, that nigga was pissed. Uh, and they collected a 12-issue mini Batman and Catwoman, and it was very interesting. I don't want to say it was very good or very bad. I still don't know, but basically, it was a very interesting story. So that was a 12-issue mini that I own, but the hardcover was collected at the library. I picked that up. One of my favorite writers, Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin, is the artist. Uh, they have a book about some young adult detectives, kind of like a Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew type thing. And so that story came out. There's a Batman Shadows of the Bat from which basically has a kid that grows up. The Joker killed his parents. Batman shows up to try to catch the Joker, and this guy who's a kid goes through life in Gotham, growing up during the Contagion, No Man's Land, all these different things. When uh, Azrael became Batman and broke Batman, Bane broke Batman's back. All these different things. He grows up in Arkham Asylum, and so I want to say this to plug the for us it's the Richland County Library because we live in Richland County. Um, the Richland County Library, downtown Columbia, South Carolina, is one of the top 10 libraries. It was listed as one of the top 10 libraries in the country. Um, but for wherever you live, there's a library. Go sign up. If you don't have a local library, the New York City Library is allowing people to sign up for free to check out books online and on tape. So for me, the library is what's gotten me through this week.
Okay.
So for me, it's
With that,
comics.
folks, go ahead.
For everybody else, it could be something else. But for me, it's the library.
Okay. With that, folks, we'll be back next week. Maybe live, maybe taped. We never know till like the day before, so we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Until then, we're out. Peace.
Peace.